Hello, one and all, and welcome to a very interesting episode of the Brewing Labs. Now, for this episode, to start, I do want to apologize for the lack of content for the past few kind of like weeks and such. Work has been a little hectic, slash, also, Standard has been very persnickety to try to brew in. Like, as many people had stated, due to the factor of some very dominant deck archetypes, it is really tricky to get it brewed together, especially with the four color Omnath shenanigans and all that stuff. There is, in theory and rumor, supposed to be a banning tomorrow that hopefully will tweak Standard a little bit. We can hope. Nevertheless, though, I did want to get this video out because this is actually kind of one of the funner decks I brewed. It's not perfect, I'm just going to state that right off the bat, but it is definitely a brew that if you want to do some shenanigans, well, here we go. So I call it the Forsaken Engine because it's brewed around two cards, specifically Lithoform Engine and Forsaken Monument. Very powerful mythic-based artifacts that essentially synergize with one another. Lithoform Engine basically has all these abilities where it becomes a Strionic Resonator, or it can become a copy a target to instant sorcery spell, or copy a target permanent. The problem though is you have to sink a lot of mana to activate those abilities. Lucky enough, thanks to Forsaken Monument, colorless creatures we control get +2/+2, but whenever we tap a permanent for colorless, we add an additional color, so that can help us ramp very, very quick. Especially since we are learning a lot of colorless lands, as you can see here. We'll get to the lands very shortly. Nevertheless, also colorless spells, whenever we cast them, we gain 2 life, which we do have a minor victory condition with that if we need to. Nevertheless, the deck goes as following. We're running 2 Bloodchief first, because it's just really good early game removal. 2 Shallow Spear, just because we have a lot of creatures that are going to become big very quick in this deck, but they don't really have good evasion per se. So Shallow Spear can be a way that we can give our really big creatures evasion. We have Stonecoil Serpent just because it's a very powerful card. Just pretty much we're going to have a lot of mana sink into this and then make a ridiculously big creature that has protection from multicolored, which means it's mostly protected from Drown in the Loch, and also protected from Heartless Act since it comes in with counters. So the only thing that gets this is an Eliminate or Hagra's Mauling, but other than that, a majority of the popular removal were pretty good. With the exception of Gem Razor, and yeah, Gem Razor is very popular at the moment. So that's kind of why we're running the Agonizing Remorse, 1 in the black. Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it. From their graveyard, exile that card, you lose 1 life. This is mostly just to hopefully hate out any artifact hate shenanigans, since we are kind of a combo mid-range deck to an extent, so we don't really want our combo pieces to be hit, so to speak. We're also running Mazebind Tomes as a free of, just a really good card draw engine and scry engine, plus being able to gain the 4 life is very nifty. We're running a 1 of Veto for the Dusk Rose. This is kind of like our secret victory condition if we can play it. Mostly, we have a lot of ways to gain life, since every time we cast colorless spells, we gain life. We also have this, what's going to gain us life, etc., etc., etc. So being able to have Veto to incrementally deal damage to the opponent, very nice. Plus the mana sink to make our biggest creatures have lifelink and then swing in for a ton of damage and then trigger. There's just a lot of good triggers. Plus, with Paradox in... you can see how I'm used to Paradox Engine from the Kaladesh block, but with Lithoform Engine, essentially what happens is, once we have this trigger on the stack, we can copy the triggered ability. So let's say we attack in with a 5/5 with lifelink, Veto triggers, we then can activate Lithoform Engine and then just double the triggers, which is really, really nice. We also are running 2 Witch's Vengeance, mostly because it's really good board wipe in this meta, especially a lot of people playing Dimir Rogues. So just name Rogues, and there you go. We also are running Palladium Mirror as just a way to pretty much for ramp, potentially, so we can play this on turn 3 and then play a Forsaken Monument on turn 4. We'll still have mana floating up for another spell if we have a spell in our hand. We're running 2 of Sky Scanner, just because it's a nice card draw engine, plus we could copy it with stuff like the Lithoform engine to make it into a... mostly get 2 card draw engines, or if we don't have enough mana to sink in to make the second copy, we can still copy the ETB trigger. Agadem's Awakening, mostly it's just in here just to return our stuff when it gets removed for a variety of things. Cute synergy here. Like, a lot of people when pointing with this card, they were pointing how you could return Stonecoil Serpent, even though it would die automatically as it returns. Well, with Forsaken Monument on the battlefield, it will actually return as a 2/2, which is very, very nice. Then I'm going to go bottom up for here to explain. We're running two Solemn Sigmaraclums. As you can tell, we're running some Control Black Magic, so we do need to get our Swamps. Solemn Sigmaraclum does help us get Swamps if necessary. Myriad Construct, this is the secret kind of fun card of the deck. It's a 4-mana 4/4, kicker for free. If you kick it, it enters the battlefield with +1/+1 counters for each non-basic land your opponent controls. A lot of people are playing non-basic lands, so this can get big pretty quick, even with the Forsaken Monument. But whenever it becomes a target of a spell, you create a number of 1/1 colorless construct artifact creature tokens equal to its power. This is actually very nifty because it actually synergizes with, of all things, Dirgebat. Now, honestly, with Dirgebat, we do want to either flash it in to help against the rogues, or we can mutate on it, either on either of our creatures to get the trigger of the mutate. One combo, though, that's actually very, very nifty is you can actually mutate on the Myriad Construct. Why would you want to do that? Because what happens is you get the Fizzle, you get all the Construct tokens, but you still keep the Dirgebat because even though the target fizzles, as we stated with Mutate, if a target fizzles, it's kind of like Bestow, where essentially you still get the creature, which is very, very nice. Plus, also, let's just talk about Dirgebat, just a really good flash flyer. Slash also, if we mutate on it, or mutate something on it, we could, if we have Lithoform Image on the battlefield, copy the triggered effect, take care of two fiends, very, very nice. We're also running two Hagra's Mauling, just a really nice if we need to play as a tap land for a swamp, but also just a good instant removal spell for really annoying creatures. Then we're running Forsaken Monument, we already talked about it, and of course we're running two Ugins. You could technically make this into 3 Ugins if I'm being honest, but we're running 2 so far because I think that gets the job done, especially since we're running some early game Witch's Vengeance to help against some more problematic archetypes. Nevertheless, that is the deck. So let us go give it a shot on ladder, shall we? This is a pretty decent hand. We kind of wish for some unconditional removal, but besides that, we could curve into a Forsaken Monument on turn 4, so we'll give it a shot. We're going to play Bonder, so I'm going to play it. One thing to keep in mind, since I didn't talk much about the lands, the reason why we're running Unknown Shores, besides being another color source that synergizes with Forsaken Monument, we can also use it if necessary to actually filter for the black mana if we need to, like, Heartless Act something, essentially, or well, not Heartless Act, Agonize Remorse, essentially. So, it looks like our opponents are potentially playing Life Gain. I thought they were playing Clerics there for a minute, but it looks like just Life Gain shenanigans. So we're going to play the Labyrinth of Scophos, play the Flaming Mirror out. They're probably going to remove it. Maybe. We'll see. If they don't, then we could play Forsaken Monument and following turn, and then get this engine running, so to speak. Okay, they just look like they're developing their board state. There we go. That's good for us, so we can now play the Forsaken Monument. We're going to play Hagra's Mauling tap, just because to get an additional mana source. They run one Temple of Silence, so we could kick this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. We could kick this next turn if we want to. If we get another source of mana, we could just play the Ugin and just board wipe their other side of the board. They could be also running stuff like Disenchant or Artifact Hate, essentially, so we got to keep that in mind. They're definitely looking at the Forsaken Monument and being like, I'll put it like this. If they have it, but we'll see if they have it first. Worst case scenario, if they destroy the Forsaken Monument, we could just play Solemn Sigmaraclum and ramp a little bit. Or actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they're going to Banishing Light it. If we get an untapped mana source, we could just kick a Myriad Construct. No, but that's a veto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think we're just going to play the Solemn Sigmaraclum here. Go get ourselves a swamp. Boop. Swing in, just to keep them in check. Then if we get an untapped mana source, we could just Ugin, which that would be perfect if we can do that. Okay, Faith Fetters. Makes sense for our opponent to run that, because it does synergize with Griffin Airy. A little annoying, but makes sense. Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, we're going to Ugin, because we kind of have to. We're going to -4. And the best part, since the majority of our permanents are colorless... Okay, our opponent Faith Fetters that. That makes perfect sense. We do get our Lithoform engine, which I kind of want to play that now, if I'm being honest. And then we have currently access to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're just going to swing in for now. Hey, that's a veto. And there's a silver smoke school. It's silver smoke. The goal, essentially. So, what we're going to do is show a little bit off of Lithoform engine. So, we're going to play Soul and Miraculum. And then we're going to copy the permanent spell. So, we get 2 triggers, which allows us to search for 2 lands, aka our last swamps in the deck, which is perfect. There we go. There we go. Thank you, opponent. Thanks. We're going to play our own veto. And say good game to the opponent. Oh, Clackbring Troll! Sure, we're gonna decline. You can attack. We don't mind blocking with the 2 sad robots. And our opponent's thinking here. They're like, should I attack? Though this is a pretty sweet synergy, Clackbring Troll with Griffin Airy, I am not gonna lie. Anyway, so... yeah, I think we just do this. And, well... boop, 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 boop. Thanks. Good game. And I stated before, you can be cute with this and actually just copy the triggered ability of Veto, so let's do that, top it off, and that is a good showing of the deck, if I say so myself. Splendorama to the pepperoni. Okay, our next opponent is Junpei. Okay, it'll be interesting to see what shenanigans they have. Let's see, let's take a look at our hand here. I mean, it's a little greedy, I'm not gonna lie, but I think we try it. Because the thing is, we could play the Castle Lockplane or even the Hagra Mulling on turn 1. That way then we could cancel whatever their turn 2 play is. At least in theory. Mostly, I'm not gonna lie, the main reason why I kept this is because we do have Skyscanner to draw a card to help us filter for our deck. And if we get a 4th mana source, we can ramp with Solemn Miraculum. Is this the best hand in the world? No, but our opponent went down to 5 cards, so I think we're in a metaphorical clear, so to speak. So it looks like black-white, so... looks like light gain shenanigans. That's 2 times in a row we went against life gain shenanigans. Okay, so we're just going to blood cheese first that. Yeah, we'll play this, because we can just play this as an untapped mana source and then play the Sky Scanner next turn. We did get our Lithoform engine, which is nice. Oh, that's... Okay, one clarification for people who are a little confused. Since we're playing in Best of 1, there are actually some cards that are exclusively legal to Best of 1 standard in the starter arena decks. This is one of them. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch. Anyway, we're just going to play our Sky Scanner. Draw us up a card. I'm kind of just tempted to play the Lithoform engine just to get it out this turn. If we get a Swamp, we might Hagra's Mauling, though we should probably save that for more significant threat. We'll take it. It's 1 damage. Badoo. Ooh, okay. Yeah, actually, this is perfect, so we're just going to play the Solemn Rackham here. Get that Swamp we need so that we can remove any problematic creatures. The alternate art on this is so gorgeous. Anyway, we're going to search for a Swamp. Bada beep, bada boop. Badoo. Also, one thing when playing this deck that I will advise people, do keep in mind that Lithoform abilities, activated abilities, can also work on land-triggered abilities. That could be pretty relevant, so keep that in mind. We'll take the 1 still. We don't really need to play in it yet. They're just going to play their Murderous Rider. Ooh, Stonecoil Serpent. I think we first just get out the Forsaken Monument and just swing in for 4. We'll keep the Hagra's Mauling online just to be safe. Ah! Someone's playing Spark Hunter Masticore. Nice. Very nice. Kinda have to golf clap on that one. Especially to help against the Ugin shenanigans. Though it does look like they're playing a little bit slow here, so we could actually play the Lithoform engine here. So yeah, they're going to do that. We don't mind, because then we can actually activate this ability to draw 2 cards. 1, 2. And then we have access to 1, 2... I think we just Hagra's Mauling here. Get that out of the way. And the best part is we could just play this for 0 and have a 2/2, but they have a 2/3, so... not a good idea, as the saying goes. You probably are hearing my doggos in the back, so say hi to the doggos. Okay. So we have access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, just enough to do this little cute trick. So, we're going to kick this. Gain 2 life. We're going to copy it. I believe as the saying goes, and then we'll just play this for 1. Just the life gain synergy from this is just so good. And the best part is, our opponent has to be very careful of using target removal, because that's going to give us 7 constructs. Which... Ooh! Zombie. 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 Then and our opponent was like, nope. Like I said, there's a lot of tribal matter synergies, so it's very Witch's Vengeance actually becomes a lot more playable in my opinion. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, our next opponent is M20. I guess they liked a specific core set. Joking aside, let's take a look at his hand. Uh, yeah, I'm kind of curious about this hand. I don't know if it's good, but it's interesting. I'll give it that. Okay, we'll play the Unknown Shores. We can play the Maze Mine Tomes. Chances are our opponent's probably playing... Oh no, they're playing Azorius. Negate? Okay, they don't negate that. That's perfect. They're probably playing either... Oh, Jeskai. Jeskai control? We're gonna scry here, because we probably have to be honest. Ugin. Yeah, I kind of want to have an Ugin in my hand. Especially if this game goes long. I think I'm first going to scry here. See what we have on top. We just only have a field. I'm going to risk it and see if they have the counter magic. Probably a disruption. No. Target removal, I'm guessing? Like a shock? Are they 4-color Omnath, potentially? Well... Yep, that's a 4-color Omnath deck if I say so myself. Anyway, what do we want to hate out? If they do get the 1 forest, they can play the Omnath, which is going to be problematic. Felidar Retreat, though, is very obnoxious, and we really can't answer it with our current hand, though, so I do think it's the Felidar Retreat. I really want to take out the Omnath, but Felidar Retreat does have to go, because that's the thing they can, at the moment, do. And I'm going to draw a card this time. Perfect. Okay, that was a good choice. Honestly, pass the turn, see what our opponent's got. We're very lucky that our opponent's not drawing any green at the moment. Still, they have 5 mana. If they get 3 more mana sources, they can... Okay, so we're just going to draw a card, get some life, and pass the turn. Pass the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 more mana. Ah, Terror the Peaks, eh? Can we mutate this by any chance? The answer is yes. Splendid. Okay. We're gonna mutate this, say bye-bye to that. And honestly, just play our own Ugin. Start hitting in the face. Now, to be fair, our opponent was definitely kind of mana screwed here. Yep. Okay, and that's why Agonizing Remorse is really good in the deck, because being able to hit the Felidar Retreat was very perfect, because then they could have built up their board presence to at least stall the game out, so... good play there. I'm gonna say that right off the bat. And that is Forsaken Engine in practice. Now, I would definitely say some cards to consider for the deck. Definitely, if further iterations of the deck, if it turns out that rogue tribal or at least tribal decks get less popular, I would definitely cut these out for Extinction Event because Extinction Event is just a very good card. Other cards I have considered for the deck, but it was really hard because you kind of had to split it. I definitely would consider stuff like Grim Tutor. Grim Tutor is very nice. I even one time actually hilariously just put Sky Conrad the Grim in there as a one-of just because the mana sink on this can be pretty cute. But with how popular Bill is, I kind of cut it out since we're kind of mostly harming ourselves with the strategy and such. Nevertheless, if you want to splash into another color, I would say Gagaria variation of this deck would be very nice, because you do have access to some pretty nifty cards, such as Nissa of the Shadow Bows to help return your stuff, but you also have access to a variety of better mutate options, such as, but not including, Boneyard Lurker. Also, you have access to stuff like the Himmerphage, and of course the Migratory Greathorn, as many people know, and of course Gem Razor, since it's been a very popular card in the meta at the moment. Nevertheless, that is the deck. I hope you all have a lovely day. As they say, hip hip hooray. This is Love Dev, signing out. Bada beep, bada boop.